What's going on, guys? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Amigoscode. In this video, I want to talk to you about dependency injection. Dependency injection is a concept that you must have under your belt and understand exactly how it works, because it will enable you to write better code, and also code which is testable. And you know that I'm a huge fan of testing, and if you not writing tests yet, so please start writing tests. And I've got a bunch of content just on testing, including a course which teaches everything you need to know about testing. So if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Literally just take 2 seconds. Give me a thumbs up so I can keep on recording these videos. And I just want to say that this video is part of the brand new course which took me about 4 months to record, and it will teach you everything you need to know about Java. So it's a course which I've been teaching over the last year to a bootcamp, and many of the students gone off and managed to secure jobs. So I decided to put everything into a course which I'm gonna bundle soon into the Amigoscode bootcamp. So if you wanna register for the bootcamp, go ahead and I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can register your interest, and I'll let you know more about it when the bootcamp is up and running. Without further ado, let's kick off this video. Earlier in this course, you saw how to connect multiple classes together. You saw the role of pojos, beans. You also saw the role of DAOs, the same with service classes and all different type of classes. Now, you saw this example here where we had the car service in here, and then we said that maybe the car DAO wants to save some data to its database. Now, how does car service has an instance of car DAO? So in this example, if you remember correctly, I said, please never do this. It's fine as you begin, because I wanted to teach you this on this section because it will start to make fully sense. But never do this right here where we have the field right here, and then you instantiate within the constructor. So this is very bad. And the same way, so you might see people do this. So here, so equals to new. So this also is kind of the same thing right here, but it's very bad as well. Now let's focus on this section and learn about dependency injection, which basically allows us to improve this code and use the best practices that will enable us to write robust applications. Let's learn about the topic called dependency injection. So you saw that we have a class called car service, which is this class in here. And car service has this field right here called car DAO, and we immediately instantiate this. Now this right here, it's actually bad code. And the reason for it is that because car service now is tightly coupled with car DAO, and let's also say that we have a email service in here, and this class has to connect to Gmail, for example. The same with, for example, MOT. So this is basically how you go and perform checks on your car to see whether the tires are good, the mirrors, the lights, so on and so forth, right? So this class in here is tightly coupled with all of these three classes. Now, if this class changes, for example, email service or car DAO, we actually have to recompile the entire class, car service. Moreover, whenever we instantiate car service, in this instance right here, we are instantiating all of these classes in here. Now, you could imagine that when we are instantiating car service and Gmail, for example, is down. So let's say that Gmail is down. Now, because car service is tightly coupled with email service, and email service cannot connect to Gmail, therefore our code will break. And the last point I want to talk to is testing. If we want to test car service, so let's just put Gmail back for a second. So if we want to test car service in here, so we face the same issue. Now, if Gmail also is down, it means that we can't really test car service at all. right? Because it has dependencies that basically do not instantiate because they have a direct connection to Gmail, for example. Now, what is the solution for all of this? Well, instead of us baking these dependencies, so car DAO, email service, and MOT inside of car service, now what we do is we take them out just like that, and let's take MOT as well. And now what we do is we say, right, so if you need car DAO, we can provide you one. If you need an MOT service, we can provide you one. If you need an email service, we can also provide you one. Now, this is a much better approach because all of these classes now can be substituted. And now, for example, if we are testing our application, we can just replace this email service right here, which has a real connection to Gmail, with a fake implementation or even a mock. So we can give it something else. The same with car DAO and the same with MOT service. And as you learn later when testing applications, we should really be testing these in isolation, meaning that we test car DAO in isolation, email service in isolation, MOT in isolation, and then car service at the point that we are testing it. All of these can be mocked because we already tested it. And if you want to test the application as a whole, it's something called integration test, which you'll also learn later in this course. But basically, this is the general idea. And this is known as dependency injection, where we are basically injecting the dependencies to the class in use. So car service needs car DAO, and where this is coming from? Well, we can inject it from somewhere. And the same for MOT service, the same with email service. And later I'll talk to you about the singleton pattern because this will then start to make fully sense. But also here, have a look. So email service right here. So if we bundle Gmail connectivity or the actual code inside of email service, this breaks the rule. So instead, what we want to do is we want to take it out just like this. And now we can say that it actually is injected. So email service receives some code that connects to Gmail. Now, the benefit of this right here is that we can actually mock this entire thing when we are testing. So we should always inject your code. Now, what does injection really means? Let me show you in the next video. So you now understand what dependency injection is, which is basically just providing the dependencies that a class needs. Now, what this means in code, let me show you. So we have car service that needs a dependency on car DAO, on email service, and MOT service as well. So let's actually put all of this into code so you see what I mean. Right, in here, within car service, never do this, nor this, basically. Nor that, right? So instead, what we should do is use dependency injection, where this class in here gets provided with the dependency that it needs. And all this is just removing all of this and then add this field to constructor. So you've learned about constructors, and this is it. It's as simple as this. So here you can see that car service, we're not saying new car DAO, so on and so forth. So this is the actual dependency in here. And if I open up main, let's actually now put things together. So if we have a car service equals to new car service, and put this full screen, have a look. So car service needs car DAO, so it's a dependency. So what we need to do is we actually have to construct car DAO first. And by the way, these classes, they are empty, they don't do anything. I'm just using them to demonstrate dependency injection. So new car DAO, and now I can pass car DAO inside. So you can see that these are the dependencies. And then at this point, we actually inject. So we are injecting the dependencies into car service. So we said email service. So let's just say that we have a class called email service. So email and then service, for example, and car service needs to send, for example, emails, let's say. So here what we do is we say private email service, just like that. And then we pass within the constructor. So I'm just going to do this like this. So just like this, so you can see everything properly. So comma, email service, and then we assign this dot email service equals to email service. There we go. Now, obviously, we need to pass in the email service every time we instantiate car service. So back to main in here, and here we actually need email service, which is another dependency. So email service equals to new email service. And inside of car service, it needs email service, which is yet another dependency. So email service like that. And we also said that we had MOT service. So let's just create this class in here and also inject it into car service. So back to car service, and here we could just do this. So private MOT service, then I'm going to create this class because it doesn't exist. So create class under this package. Okay, go back and then use the keyboard shortcut Alt Enter, add constructor to parameter, refactor, and put this on a new line. And we have a problem now. If I go back to main, we need to say MOT service equals to new MOT service. And there we go. Now let's say that MOT service also needs to send emails. Well, we say private and then email service, add this to constructor. There we go. Now, if I go back to main, and you'll see that MOT service now receives email service as well. And we can pass that within car service. So here, MOT service, we pass it inside. So this is basically what dependency injection is. So here we have car service, which has 3 dependencies. MOT service, we've just done, has only 1 dependency. And next, let me talk to you about an issue that we currently have with creating objects in this manner. But if you still have issues about dependency injection, please do let me know. And you'll see throughout this course, we're going to use only dependency injection, and I will explain where we get into testing, why is it better, so on and so forth. Now, let's say that our application is massive, and when we create a new instance of car service, that instance gets stored inside of the heap, if you recall. The same for MOT service in here. And you also saw that MOT service might want to send an email, for example, if the car has an issue with the tires, for example, or something is wrong with the car. Maybe this service class might want to send an email using this service in here. Then the same with car service. So maybe car service needs to send an email for whatever reason. Then you can see that we might actually have duplicates in here. So have a look. Email service is actually twice inside of the heap. Now, coming back to our code in here, have a look. We've got MOT service and we also have car service. Both of these, they actually receive the same instance of email service. So in this case, it's not a problem. But let's say that the application is massive and now we have to manage all of these dependencies, and maybe it's not even feasible to actually pass email service at this point in here. So you see that the application is actually very small, but sometimes you have thousands and thousands of classes that you have to create and work with. Now, if you were to basically, for each class that you have within main in here, you were to say new car.do, new email service, new MOT service, and the new car service. And then you can see that this can actually be a mess. Have a look. We're passing email service here and then right here. And basically we are taking care of object initialization. Now, if we have 1,000 classes, then we need to have 1,000 new extra lines just initializing things and then passing the dependencies in the correct order. And you can see that this can be really messy, right? So maybe you don't want to do this and you actually want to create new instances of the classes where they are used. But then you have the issue of having duplicate instances within the heap. And if you create a bunch of instances, so let's say that this is the email service, again here, and eventually the heap will be full and you basically have a Stack Overflow error, right? Because you can't really allocate more objects inside of the heap. Now, our application is very small, so this is very unlikely, but when you build enterprise applications, you have thousands and thousands of classes. What is the solution? Well, the solution is to use something known as the singleton pattern. So singleton pattern basically instantiates your class just once. So here, email service is just once in here instantiated. Then whichever class needs email service, they basically reuse the exact same one. Now, at this point, we're not going to actually implement the singleton pattern, but I'm just letting you know. But as we move to Spring Boot, you'll see that we'll use something known as beans, and beans by default, they are singleton unless you change it. But the benefit is that now you don't create a bunch of classes which are the same, right? And it means that you are managing the memory much better. It goes like this. Instead of us having to say new car, new email, new MOT, new car service, new, we get rid of all of this. So literally we get rid of all of this. And this is not the actual working code, but I'm just showing you how it goes. But then within each of these classes, so car service, for example, we simply stick an annotation in here. So usually it goes like bean, and you've learned about beans. Now with frameworks such as Spring, what this is doing is actually going off and instantiating this class for you and manage its life cycle. So basically you do the same for MOT service. You say at and then bean. There we go. And let's say that we've done for all of them. Now, let's say that email service has that same annotation. So actually let's just go inside. So let's just say that we have at and then bean as well. And you might see at component, or some people just use component. So they're all kind of the same thing, right? So component, you might see this. So if I go back to car service, so instead of bean, let's just say component. And when we start learning about Spring Boot, you'll see all of this in action. So let's just say component. And what this means is this class will be instantiated for us. Now have a look. We have some dependencies in here. So email service, right? Now because email service has this annotation, which automatically gets instantiated, it means that in here, so at this point, where we say, right, so we have a dependency, we can just use annotations such as auto wired, and we'll do this later, don't worry about it. The same with at inject if you are using Juice, which is another dependency injection library. But basically what they're doing, they're just saying, right, so I've got email service in here, go and find an instance and inject it for me, so that I can assign it to this field in order for me to use it throughout my code. Now you can see that this approach is much better because now have a look. Within our main, we're not saying new keyword, so on and so forth. So This is basically using the singleton pattern. So when majority of these actually, so when you stick this annotation in here, MOT service is a singleton. And this means that, so if I open up car service, so car service has also email service in here. Now at this point, if we say in here at auto wired or at inject in here, this email service which is injected is the exact same one which is injected within MOT service. Now I'm just giving you a taste of these annotations, but we'll get to put all of this into practice once we move into Spring World. For now, I want you to instantiate the objects like so, because this is how you're going to learn how to put things together. Right here, you'll see all the dependencies, so get your hands dirty. But as we progress, you see how our code will become much cleaner and we will not need to do this later. If you have any questions on this section or this topic, please do let me know. Otherwise, catch me on the next one. Okie dokie, let me know what you thought about this video. As I said, this video is part of the brand new course, which will be part of the bootcamp, which I'm about to release. And the link will be in the description of this video, so register your interest. There's many people already waiting and it's going to be fun. And really, I want to provide you content and courses that will enable you to become a software engineer or upskill your knowledge in software engineering. And yeah, so for now, I'll catch you on the next one. Assalamu alaikum.